Yes, with you, man. And we're live. What's going on, guys? What's going on? Today we're going to be talking about what? Southport murder riots and Algerian boxer Imane Khelif, and then we're going to be talking about something else. We'll reveal that for later, guys. How's everyone doing?
Good, good. I'm good.
Doing good, bro. Very good.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Okay. So, what we're going to kick off with first, the transgender issue. Imane Khelif. Is that what we're going to kick it off? Um,
Oh,
first with. What do you guys reckon? Is that okay?
yeah, sure, yeah.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's. You know what? Let's play the video. Uh, let's-
Carini operating from
Fair
the
use.
southpaw stance. Just falling a little bit short there.
Look at that reach. I'm joking.
I think
Good right hook from Carini. Khelif looking to come with those straight punches to the body of Carini. Nice little lead up from Khelif.
Iman Khalif hits too hard. Shout out to everyone watching. We got 14 of you guys watching. All right, guys. So let's get to it. Is it a man?
So let's do a bit of background on the opponent. So the
Okay,
opponent is what's her name?
Imane Khelif.
Iman
So
Khalif or
that's
Iman
an
Khalif?
Algerian. Is she? Wasn't there some issues about whether or not she had fully transitioned from male to female? Was that an issue or something?
I don't think so. As far as I'm aware, it's just levels of testosterone, is it?
Okay.
Born
No,
as
it's
Oh,
a
not.
right.
female.
No, it's not. She failed some kind of gender test. I've actually
What
got
the gender test?
by I think it's IBA. She failed some gender test, and her and another Chinese boxer, they failed some gender test, and that's the reason why.
Okay.
You know,
So
yeah, that's
I
just.
got.
I mean, I'll put it up. Do you know? We can actually read it. You know, we can actually read it
Well, I
and
got the
find
wrong
out
end.
exactly
I'll
what's.
be honest, and I got the wrong end of the stick because I thought that this is someone that had been born as a male, but it's not the case.
Yeah,
I
no.
think it was. I think Iman was definitely born as a male.
Yeah, but
How
have
would
you
you
Um,
know?
got proof of? Have you got proof of that?
Yeah, because you've got
huh?
proof with the opposite.
Sorry.
No, I don't have any proof at all. It's just what I think from watching that boxing match. The 46 seconds of it. That is a man there. That to me, that is not a biological woman at all.
So what's the boxer's name?
Well, him. He's called Imane Khalif.
How you spell that? Do you know?
Iman
I
Khalif. Brother,
I
ask
I M
ask
A
your
N
friend.
E. Yeah, I M. It's in the private chat. IMANE and Khalif. KHALIF.
Okay. I just want to look at his bio. So it's a okay. It's a no. She okay. Let's have a look here. You like grew up. She originally. So it's all she. So she wasn't
Yeah.
born. She wasn't born a male.
Yes, so they say. Okay, so this is hold on a second. So this is I'm just going to read this out quickly, right? Statements made by the International Boxing Association regarding athletes' disqualification in World Boxing Championship 2023. There's some relevant information here um, in regards to this guy. On 24th of March 2023, IBA disqualified athletes Lin Yu Ting and Imane Khelif from the IBA Women's World Boxing. Boxing Championships, New Delhi 2023. This disqualification was a result of their failure to meet the eligibility criteria for participating in the women's competition, as set and laid out in the IBA regulations. This decision, made after a meticulous review, was extremely important and necessary to uphold the level of fairness and utmost integrity of the competition. Sorry, guys, I'm getting some feedback. And then it goes on to say, um, okay, our committees have rigorously reviewed and endorsed the decision made during the World Championships, while IBA remains committed to ensuring competitive fairness in all our events. We express concern over the inconsistent application of eligibility criteria by other sporting organizations, including those overseeing the Olympic Games, the IOC's differing regulations on these matters, in which IBA is not involved, raise serious questions about both competitive fairness and athletes' safety. So the IOC is the one who kind of think allowed her, and the IBA disqualified her because they, according
She
to them,
failed. Yeah, she
yeah,
failed
yeah,
one type of hormonal tests.
yeah. Hold on a
So I
second.
mean,
There's also
so I'll be
hold,
honest.
hold on, hold on, hold on. Sorry, bro.
Yeah,
Sorry,
go ahead.
bro. Let me just
Go on.
this last thing. Point to note: the athletes did not undergo a testosterone examination, but were subject to a separate and recognized test, whereby
Right.
the specifics remain confidential. This test conclusively indicated that both athletes did not meet the required necessary eligibility criteria and were found to have competitive advantages over other female competitors. Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Mm. So she wasn't born a male. I don't know if she was born a hermaphrodite. I don't know. They're not specifying that. But to be fair, I mean, now I know the full story. I mean, I don't know really what the scandal is, because was born as a female and she has advanced testosterone. Maybe she's taken steroids in the past. That could be one reason for it. That happens sometimes. Um, but yeah, it's a bit of a different story now. I know the full story. For me, it's not as egregious as I was initially thinking, because I generally thought this was someone that had transitioned, like that.
I genuinely hold that position as well. Sorry, bro. Go ahead.
You still believe that that's the case?
Yeah, that's definitely a man over there. That's a whole man over there. Yeah,
Well,
yeah. Sorry,
according to
I'm
the
gonna be absolutely ignorant on this. No, not ignorant. I'm sorry. I know what I see with my two eyes. All right, and that does not look like a woman to
but
me.
then
All right.
have you seen some female bodybuilders, Nelson?
Yeah, you're talking about bodybuilding, bro.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but some female body. Not only that, look at some female cross training. I think it's called cross
Mm,
training. It's like an event now, a super athlete event where they do all types of physical feats. Look at some of the women that compete there. In
mm,
fact, there's a lot of sports women. Remember Fatima? Is it Fatima? The English. I thought she was a decathlon. She was very butch, muscles, facial hair, everything. There are some women that do have advanced testosterone levels, and they, outwardly they can look like men, but they actually are born with a womb. You see what I'm saying? So
what do you reckon, Hassan?
Transgenderism is illegal in Algeria. So the idea that she could be born a male, transition, and then go on to fight to represent Algeria is just absurd. It would be
yeah,
obvious at some point, and I can't imagine the powers that be would skip over the opportunity to present her if she was a transgender as they wouldn't take up the opportunity to present her as a transgender. This is a woman who has higher levels of abnormal amounts of testosterone. The she based on the other regulatory body, she shouldn't qualify, but it's the Olympic director, I think, who changed the rules. And I think hopefully I'll try to find his statement that allowed her to qualify and lowered some of the standards for testosterone levels. That's why she wouldn't qualify for some cases, but she would qualify for this one. So is there a bit of politics in this? Yes. But is it transgenderism? No.
okay. Nelson?
Yeah. So sorry, guys. My opinion. That's the man over there. That's not. I mean, you're talking about powers that be. The powers that be do push the trans agenda onto society, onto the world. So
Do
if
they
we're
So
talking
what are
hide
you
about
her?
power,
basing that on? Nelson, are you basing it on how she looks?
I'm basing that on his physique. I'm basing I'm
But then,
basing that.
with the same logic, then you got to say that you would call all bodybuilding women men. Then
And you'd call transgender women women because they have
Guys,
breasts. They
guys,
have breasts.
guys, I didn't even see breasts. I didn't even see breasts.
But if you see,
He doesn't even have breasts.
but if you see breasts, does that mean it's a woman? Because there's
Huh?
there's a lot of men that would transgender men that would agree with you.
I mean,
It's quite a
hold
small
on.
thing.
Let me just get my opinion out. Let me just get my opinion out
Okay,
because at
okay.
this point it's semantics. Yeah, there's women that do bodybuilding and look like this and look like that. Blah 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 blah. Absolutely, but none of that. None of that changes the fact that this could be a man. So yes, we could have. There's women that can look like this and look like that, but none of that changes the fact that this could be a man. Um, uh, he's considerably taller than her. His physique is very masculine. Doesn't have any of what I would call, to me, that's not a female physique at all. Now, I don't know what happened behind the scenes. I don't know what happened I don't know what was happening behind closed doors. But no one's going to tell me that I'm not seeing what I'm seeing there. And the fact that this woman has been training for so long, reaches the Olympics, and blah 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 blah, feels his punch and gives up immediately, all right. I was like, nah. There's no way. What the punch that she felt was not the punch of a female. All right. She felt the punch of a man. She realized that she was in a dangerous situation. She decided to call it a day. She said, no, I'm not going to go through with this. My entire face battered because I know who I'm fighting. That is a man. Now, the IBC, I think is the IBC or IBA, I'm sorry to say, but they ruled that they don't meet the qualifications, bro. They don't meet the standards. She does He didn't meet the standards. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna call that she. That's a he to me. He didn't meet the standards. All right, as far as gender goes and so on. The IOC, I don't know what they did there, but I think it comes. That's the Olympic side, right?
Yeah,
Hassan, that's the Olympic side. Yeah, the same
yeah.
Olympics that went ahead and decided to mock Christianity and all of that. The one that pushing the transgender agenda through. Yeah. These are the ones that gave him a pass. So to me, I'm not here sitting down. I'm not here saying that I know all the facts. I know what happened behind closed doors. I know everything. I don't no. All right, but no one's gonna tell me that that's not a man.
I don't think anybody's trying to say, or at least I'm not trying to say that from a distance one could assume that a man has a particularly male physique. Yeah, I can understand. No, I'm not telling you your eyes don't see what they see. But is it a woman? Is she a woman or is she a male? In Algeria, it's illegal to transition. It's illegal for a man to present himself as a woman or a woman to present themselves as a man. To go through that whole process, to go through the Algerian regulatory body, to go to the Olympic regulatory body, and still be a transgender, still get under the radar? No, it's impossible. Extremely unlikely. Second point, you said she felt the punch of a man. If we could play the
Yeah.
video, if we could play the video near the end, although we have to be fair use because the Olympics is very particular about playing their content online. I've noticed from what I hear. So yeah, fair use, fair use. Um, the Italian lady's a bit of quite a bit of an actor, in my opinion. She gets down on her knees, starts crying in front of everyone. The Algerian lady comes back to tap her on the shoulder, shake hands. She walks off. So she refused to shake hands. So she took the fight, accepted it, knew that, made the assumption that this person was male, lost the fight, refused to shake hands, started crying in the middle of the ring. When the Algerian fighter came back to shake hands, she walked up as well. I think it's performance art. I think she knew she was going to lose and she's trying to build up on the right wing anti woke movement, in my opinion.
I think you made
Okay.
some good points. I think you made some good points there, actually, my son.
Thank
Because yeah, she knew who she was fighting. She must have known the controversy around this. And I'm not going to call her a he because when I looked at her Wikipedia, it said that her dad actually he was against girls getting into boxing. So it seems like his daughter was into this sport from a very young age. Probably was a tomboy, and got into this sport from a young age. And he didn't like his daughter, so definitely born a female. And I reckon in terms of how they are, she's probably trained for many years. And some women, when they train, it does actually increase their testosterone. So she already had slightly elevated levels naturally, and then has trained for so long, maybe taking supplements that boosted testosterone as well, which are not always illegal, by the way. Then she could be just unfortunate. It could be a case of her just being unfortunate that her physiologically, I can't pronounce the word.
Physiologically, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Is that where for testosterone is just elevated in her, and I mean, yeah.
Let's play the rest of the video. Hassan wants to play it.
You mute it.
Karini just asking to get her head guard tightened in.
Fair use.
Solid straight right hand from Khelif there.
Look how it walks.
About
See how it was walking.
being pulled off by the referee. Karini looking angry in the corner there with a corner. Just referee calls both fighters to the center. Well, demonstrating
You see the Adam's apple.
from Karini. She talks to her corner. She's not happy about something. We'll wait on the results here.
Victorieuse par abandon in red from Algeria, Imane Khelif.
Khelif taking the win as Karini abandoned the bout.
Dans le point bleu pour l'Italie, Angela
She's fallen to her knees.
Oh, you see that? You see that? See the crying and the crying stop?
Upset. Olympics an
Yeah,
emotional
she's been a
time
drama
for
queen.
Angela Karini, who lost her father.
Yeah, right. That's a woman. Get out of
drama
here.
queen.
I don't care if she's being a drama queen. Any woman, I advise any woman to act like a drama queen if they're fighting a man. Don't fight a man, okay? A man is 10 times, 100 times stronger than you. You will feel that punch. When a man punches a woman knows. She knows. That was not, to me, that was she. To me, that is BS. That is a man there. I don't care what anyone says. That's a man. That is not a woman. That is not, I don't know. Like I said before, I don't know the politics. I don't know what happened behind closed doors. I don't know who that, because we're talking about the Olympics, right? The same Olympics that mocks an entire religion, the same Olympics that does things of that nature. What, they the ones who can't do this type of stuff? Please, I'm sorry to say, and she already got disqualified with IBA before. Oh, sorry, he already got disqualified with IBA before. I am sorry. That is even the way he walks, his physique, everything about this guy is a man. I'm sorry to say that is not a woman. Don't care what anyone says.
You're very progressive, I think, because you're judging gender based on appearance. So if a man puts on a dress and is very slinky and has nice breasts, he's a woman to you.
Nah, I
You
know
don't,
what a
you
man
don't,
looks like. I
you
know, I
don't
know
know
what a
what's
man.
you don't know what's
Hold
going
on.
on behind closed doors. You don't know what's going. So
I know what a
clearly,
man looks like. I know what a man looks like in a dress.
that's pause.
So I'm sorry. If the man puts on a dress, he will look like a man with a dress. This there will look like a man with a boxing outfit.
But I want to focus on the point where the Italian lady, she's definitely a woman, but she's doing the whole drama queen thing going on. She,
That is not drama, bro. She just got punched by a man.
she should have cried straight away, but she didn't. She waited until she lost, and she went into the center of the ring, started crying, and then the Algerian boxer came back, tapped her on the shoulder, like like fair sport, a good sport or whatever like good sportsmanship, right? And then she gets up, stops crying, looks at the camera, stops crying, and then since then, right now, she's still crying. Every feed, every interview, she's crying with a microphone in her hand and talking about my dad helped me and blah 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 blah, so on and so forth. She knew she was going to lose. She wants this woman she wants to cast suspicion on this woman and blame her for her loss because she was inevitably going to lose because she's quite a good boxer. Turns out, that's my opinion. I'll let you guys. Go ahead, JF.
I mean, yeah, I mean,
Jam, hold on, Jam. Jam, did you see the bop?
I did. I can't ignore the fact that the dad said that that's his daughter. You know, the dad said that his daughter was into sports at an early age. So either the dad's in on it, some type of agent that was that you know they chose about. How old is this child? This boxer, 20 odd. 15 years ago, they engineered this 15 years ago, and they got the dad involved. It seems, according to Nelson.
According to me, bro. According to me. But I saw the bop. I saw the way the way he stood up. That's a man. It stars everything. That's a man. You could tell that the Italian. That she's a woman. I don't know what her name is, but Angela. That's definitely a woman. But this guy here. Anyways, guys. I mean, it's up to you guys. Right? You can call that a woman all you want, but that don't look like a woman to me. I'm sorry.
I've got a picture of her when she was a child. If you want to,
Do you have a picture? Do you have a picture when she was a teenager? When he was a teenager?
I don't know.
Nah.
But I've got one when she was a kid.
What about like
other ones? Put this one up for context. I've shared this one.
I need to see him as a teenager, and then we're gonna move on to the next story. Hold on a second. Yeah, that could be anyone.
It's a young girl. That's who that is. The young girl right there. That's the dad. That's the boy. Yeah? Why would you hide it's the boy? What's the motive? To win the Olympics?
You don't have no teenage pics.
I have no teenage pics. I have teenage interview, I think. I tried to find it, but I doubt it'll convince you.
Yeah, I saw the Adam's apple, bro.
Bro, some girls just look at their dads.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not saying that there isn't girls out there that
They look like Papa.
But I'm sorry, even those girls have a softness to them. This is a man. I mean, come on.
Bro, back
guys,
in the
listen.
day when we saw a girl that wasn't that attractive, we used to say that she looks like a dad. We used to say that.
I'm not listen, I'm not judging it by the looks only. I'm judging by the way it walks, you know what I mean? The way it poses, the physical structure. You can see the muscle structure. It's different from that
Bro, she's a
from that
professional
woman.
athlete, bro. She's a professional athlete that's training.
Okay, they're supposed to be on the same.
Life.
They're supposed to be on the same category, right? Same weight class and everything, right?
Oh, she must be very young. Must be early 20s.
Okay, guys, give me a
That's
second.
She's been
Give me a
training
second.
for a very long
Guys,
time. She's been training for a long time, and she's obviously African, so she has a higher melanin content, which will also lead to higher testosterone. You have to factor all those things in.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
high testosterone, and so I mean all that. That's
And she's
fine.
African. Remember, she is African.
Guys, listen, I don't know if this person has a high testosterone or not. I don't know if this person, I don't know all this info. Okay, I don't know. What I do know is what I can see with my own two eyes. Okay, I don't like
Mm-hmm.
talking about things that I don't know. All right, it's funny that Hassan can't even provide a picture when it was a teenager. I find
I'll
that
find it.
very funny.
I'll find it. If it's a challenge, I can do that.
But the thing is, what I do know is how a man walks. I know a man's physique. I know a man's pause, by the way. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about. I
Mhm.
do know that. All right. I know what a man physique is compared to a woman's physique. I know all of that. I know how a man walks. I know how a man poses and all of that type of stuff. And I'm sorry to say, and it was he was already disqualified. He was already disqualified by IBA due to gender issues. What what happened there? Why was he disqualified?
Gender
And
issues or
then
testosterone?
and then it goes to IOC. All right, you know, the same IOC, you know, that's associated with the Olympics, and you know they known to for pushing transgender. Um, Come on, man. Do you really guys do you guys really think that this would have if this person was really a woman, this would have gone as viral as it went?
It did. Remember South Africa? Same thing in South Africa. The South African runner was told, "You're a man" and things like this. And she completely obliterated the competition. But it turns out she was a woman the whole time. And what were they saying?
Please,
Oh,
man. I'm sorry. The South
hmm,
African
that was a man
woman
too.
looks more like a woman than this guy over here.
Yeah, but you can't judge everything based on appearance. Because if you do that,
Right?
then gender is fluid.
You're not gonna try and put. You're not gonna get away with putting that on me, bro.
You're the progressive. You're the
I saw the
progressive.
way it was walking. You're telling me a bunch of stuff that you can't really know for sure. Okay, I'm sorry to say, but you don't really know this information. You don't know if that's her really in that picture. Don't know anything. You've been provided information. You're taking that information on board, and you're making assumptions based on that information.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
but the thing is, what we have is um, we have we have conflicting information here. Okay, because we have IBA saying one thing, and
Mhm.
we've got IOC saying another thing. All right, and then we have what we can see on the screen, and what we can see on the screen. I'm sorry to say, it looks more like a man than it does a woman, and that is just my opinion. At least I'm not saying that my opinion is fact. I'm just saying that I know what a man looks like, and no one's going to try and make me believe that that does not look like a man when it does. And I can understand why a woman would give up in 46 seconds after being punched in the face twice. I
And
would.
then and then
To me,
fake cry.
that's not someone fake crying. That's someone that felt the punch of a man, felt the strength, and made the right decision and said, you know what, I don't want no parts of it. I'm
She
leaving.
cried. She fought for 45 seconds and cried for like 7 seconds. You literally see her get on her knees, start crying, and then gets up and stops crying, and then starts crying again.
All
As
right.
soon as the Algerian fighter tries to shake hands and show some sportsmanship, it's too suspicious. It's just too suspicious. And good on the Algerian lady for not, just pointing out how much of a drama queen the Italian lady is. And I've seen some of her pictures. I can tell you, she looks like one that likes attention.
Have you got any interviews of him talking?
Yeah, but I don't want to show you this. I'll show you.
Got a deep voice in it.
So,
Hold on. Let's move on to the next story.
okay.
Because we're basically going to do half an hour each. All right, let's move on to the next story. This is the latest.
Crown Prosecutor CPS Mersey Cheshire The Crown Prosecution Service has authorised Merseyside Police to charge a 17-year-old boy of Banks, Lancashire, with 3 counts of murder and 10 counts of attempted murder, following the tragic incident that took place in Southport this week. He will appear at Liverpool City Magistrates Court on Thursday, the 1st of August 2024. We remind all concerned that criminal proceedings against the defendant are active and that he has a right to a fair trial. It is extremely important that there should be no reporting, commentary or sharing of information online which could in any way prejudice these proceedings. Our thoughts remain with families of all those affected by these harrowing events.
Good evening, Serena Kennedy, Chief Constable, Merseyside Police. As the Crown Prosecution Service have said, a 17-year-old boy from Banks has been charged with the murders of Bibi, Elsie Dot and Alice. 10 counts of attempted murder and possession of a bladed article following the tragic incident in Southport on Monday, the 29th of July. The 17-year-old cannot be named for legal reasons as he is under 18. He has been remanded in custody to appear tomorrow, the Thursday, the 1st of August, at Liverpool Magistrates Court, Derby Square. Whilst these charges are a significant milestone within this investigation, this remains very much a live investigation, and we continue to work with our partners from Lancashire Police and Counter-Terrorism Policing North West.
All right, now let's deal with the riots, because we're going to be talking about that. Then let's have this reaction. But things have developed since then, because this video is 22 hours old. Things have developed since then, and apparently they have named him. They have made his name public. So I hear.
So I'll start with the elephant in the room straight away.
Hold on, bro. Hold on. Let me just play this, and then we can go.
Riots erupted on the streets of Southport last night following a knife attack on Monday which left 3 girls dead and other young children in a critical condition. Rioters gathered around a mosque not far from the scene of the stabbings. Vehicles were set alight and projectiles thrown at riot police by people believed to be supporters of the English Defence League. Residents trapped inside their homes watched the mayhem unfold from their windows. Some police officers were seriously injured with broken bones, lacerations and concussion. North West Ambulance Service treated 39 police officers, with 27 of them taken to hospital. These violent scenes have been condemned by the government.
All right, let's go. Jam.
Yeah, sorry. So the point I wanted to make is that if this would have been a white English boy with no ties to any type of online personality like Andrew Tate or someone like that, just an average guy that did this, there would have been no rioting in the streets. There'd be no outrage online on the level that we're seeing now. And there would be literally a complete mental evaluation of the child. And the conclusion would be that he was mentally deranged. Anyone that wants to deny that is just denying reality. That's what would have happened if this had been an English white boy that did this. So that's just a fact, okay? The fact that the initial report suggested he was a Syrian refugee or some type of Muslim is why we're seeing this widespread attack on mosques and all over up and down. People with brown skin being attacked randomly in the street. What we're seeing, unfortunately, and let me make it clear, the person that did this, we found out now, is a British-born male, okay, from African lineage. So he's not an immigrant. He's a British citizen. So I'd be interested to see what angle they'll go with now, because now, if we're going to have a go at, if we're going to say immigration is an issue for people that are born here, then we have to look at people like Rishi Sunak and Kami Bedinach, whatever her stupid name is, There's so many people in prominent positions that have parents that were not born here. Everybody has to be dragged in when they do something wrong. Everyone's lineage must be brought up. If your parents are not born here, we need to bring that up. Of course, that's not going to happen. Obviously, that's not going to happen. So it's interesting to see how, unfortunately, we're seeing the racist underbelly of the UK with this incident. I think everyone needs to be aware of what's going on around them, because this potentially could lead to something else. I think now, because the name has been, they've allowed his name to come out. That was literally done to curb violence, because if they didn't do that, people were using the ambiguity of the attacker as a potential Muslim to then engage in racist, anti-Islamic attacks all up and down the country. So yeah, very interesting to watch.
Hassan, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. It's a shame that people are just projecting and using that as a method to be violent, riot, and essentially blaming whatever issues that they may see in society on one particular group or variety of groups that don't necessarily represent the majority of the country. It's very telling. This is the second time in 2 months now, I think, or 1 month. I think last month or earlier this month, it was Leeds. It was people who weren't associated with the Muslim community being blamed for causing damaging police cars and such. It turns out they weren't Muslims, but people were very quick to say Muslims are the problem. And just because they saw people who are considered to be brown or not English, not European, looking causing issues in a particular area, turns out they weren't Muslim. In this situation, the person wasn't even named until the judge had to release the information. But they were blaming Muslims, damaging mosques, and causing all types of issues, and blaming Muslims. And you have people like Tommy Robinson and such, just escalating the situation to meet their own ends and to promote bigotry and racism and such. As JM said, people need to be aware of what's going on. What else is there? Yeah, that's all about that.
First thing I would say is what happened to those girls is horrific. It's pure evil. I don't care who's responsible for it. It was pure evil, and everyone else who escaped, essentially, escaped from the knife attack. Now, in regards to, obviously, I don't know who put this Muslim name out as the person responsible for the attacks. I don't know who did it. I don't know if it came from the government. I don't know if it came from some shady website. I heard it's the website from America or something like that. But anyway, someone apparently put this information out and people run with it. What I found amazing was the fact that they put a Muslim person's name out and that caused that level of outrage. Now, I'm not going to necessarily jump to racism as to why people are angry at the Islamic community, because I don't think that's fair. Not everyone that doesn't necessarily like a group, they don't necessarily like a group because of their race or because of sometimes people have their own personal reasons. So not everyone dislikes a certain group due to race. But what I will say is, I found it interesting that putting that person's name, a Muslim person's name, out there as the reason for that crime was enough to get that reaction from from um, from English people. And I'm thinking things are going to get worse. This is what I'm thinking, because if that can cause that, then things have become obviously very polarized, and it's only going to get worse. That's the way I see it. Um, was there some people that just don't like Muslim people as far as race goes? because Islam is nothing to do with race, as far as I know. It's a religion. Anyone is welcome is welcome in it. So yeah. So were there people among in this group that didn't like Muslims or does yes, of course, I'm sure there is. I'm sure there's always racist people about, but I don't think everyone was necessarily racially motivated. I think it's just people that don't like the Islamic religion. I think that's what it's more to do with than anything else.
I'd say the opposite. I'd say it's more racist than anything else.
Race, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to understand how race comes into it, and I don't see how race comes into it because it's a religion. The person, I mean, unless you're talking about immigration, they don't like immigrants coming in, but immigrants is not of a specific race, unless you're saying that all immigrants that come into England, they all brown, which is not necessarily the case. That's not true because there are Eastern
If
Europeans that come in as immigrants as well. So if is the people that hate immigrants, is it people that hate the religion, or is it people that hate the specific? Do you understand what I'm saying to you? What is it? But to just say
It's people that
race,
hate their own lives. I think it's people that, since the
there's that
beginning
too.
of
There's that too.
scapegoating, has always been a very unique thing in this country. People always,
mm,
especially the dominant society, when things are going badly, when they're struggling, when they're not, living the lifestyle they think they deserve, they look around to see who can they blame. They'll blame the West Indians that came over. They'll blame so-called Jews. They'll blame Indians, Asians. Now it's all about immigrants.
Blacks.
Immigrants are to blame for all my issues. Migrants, people on boats, who make a tiny percentage of people in this country are people that come on boats. That's what's so funny to me. They'll look at any reason they can, anything to blame other than to take ownership of their own position in life. This is what these people do. As for the
Yeah.
hooliganism, these are guys that do that on a Saturday night, evening anyway, probably in one of these seaside towns. If it wasn't for football, it'll be some other reason to have a tear up. Do you know that they were bringing, and this is what makes me laugh, and someone highlighted this. This is why you do not take any of these guys seriously that go out there with this so-called, we're out here because we're protecting Britain. But you know, these guys were buying crates of cider and taking them along. Why are you buying crates of
Crates
cider?
of cider.
Yeah.
Crates of cider.
And there's pictures of this, by the way. Why
Oh,
are you
okay.
taking crates of cider to a so-called protest?
Yeah, that
That
doesn't make
tells you everything you need to know about why they were there, what they were doing. It's just hooliganism, simple as that.
Yeah,
yeah,
do you know what?
and a lot of
I mean,
racism.
yeah, I don't think it's necessary. I do agree with John Michelle that um, a lot of it has to do with they just being mad at themselves. They're being mad of they mad at the situation that they allow their country to be in, and now they want to take it out on immigrants. I do. There is a lot of truth in that. I do agree with that. There is an element of that. And yeah, you're right. That type of behavior um, is hooligan behavior, basically.
And race.
That's what that is. Hassan keeps
And
mentioning racism. Go ahead, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. Well, it's most liars are thieves. Most people who have a phobia of a particular religious group in the UK are racist. It's a very simple bridge to build. Well, it's very easy to bridge the two.
Sorry, can you
It's not
repeat
as
that again? Most British people are racist.
no, I didn't say that. I said most people who are Islamophobic are racist. That's what I said. In the UK.
So it's nothing to do with not liking the religion. It's just got to because look, I'm not. Hold on, hold
Yeah,
on, hold on. Hold on.
yeah.
I'm not. I'm not trying to like attack Islam or anything. What I'm saying is because I hear from a lot of white atheists who hate Christians.
Mhm.
They're always talking bad about Christianity, and I would never say they are necessarily racist or they are necessarily. I think it's just they just don't like the religion and they can't stand the religion because the religion goes against they secular values or the type of stuff that they do. And because the religion opposes that, they don't like it. So I don't think everything. I think there's people. I'm sure there's people there that just don't like someone's race, and I'm sure there's people there that just don't like someone's religion. That's it.
Okay, so
Okay, but
those people, yeah.
let me check. Sorry, let's
Go
make a
ahead,
quick point before I forget. There's nothing to do with not liking the religion, bro. Nothing. Because let me tell you something. Let's say this person that did it was Muslim, right? First of all, he clearly wouldn't be a practicing Muslim to go and do what he did. That's the first thing. Okay, we need to make that very clear. The same way if it was a Christian, a so-called attendee at church, and it was a Christian, so-called Christian, we would say, well, this person's not a Christian that did this, because no Christian would do such a terrible thing. So that's the first thing. Also, this is why you know that it's just Islamophobia, because you had people chanting F Allah, who the F is Allah, and all these type of comments. This is what they were chanting. What does that have to do with what happened? What does that have to do with it? It literally has nothing to do, because nothing within the tenets of Islam that I know, you guys may know a bit more about the religion, but nothing I've seen justifies a child getting up one day, a 17-year-old, and then just randomly stabbing young children to death. So why you're bringing up Allah and all etc. and etc. I don't understand the correlation outside of prejudice and bias and racism. That's it.
Okay, those guys screaming, "Who the hell is Allah?" Blah blah blah. I'm sure most of them haven't read the Quran. I'm sure most of them don't know nothing about the religion, and they just don't like the propaganda, or they just don't like. Look, I'll give you an example, right? Let me just get this one out. Islam and Christianity are completely different religions, and the first point that you made, John, sure, I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think how Christianity reacts to violence, how Christian reacts when it comes to violence, when it comes to those type of situations, is not the same as from what I've studied, from what I know about Islam. It's not the same way. For example, I'll give you look. Just recently, we had the bishop, the Orthodox bishop, that was attacked by a Muslim boy. Okay, he was stabbed in the eye. He lost his eyes. He's lost his eyes as a result. Okay, that's very recent. Okay, now I don't think these people have read the Quran or understood the Quran or know the Quran. I don't think so, but they have seen these violent acts, and we can't say that there hasn't been violent acts from the Muslim community, because there has been violent acts, just like there's been violent acts from other communities as well. It's not, but there has been violent acts. So these people see that on the news, and I think that's what inspires them, rather than having knowledge on the actual religion itself and knowing what the religion is about. I don't think any of them have read the Quran or read the Hadiths or know
So,
anything about Islam.
so they're Christians.
Who?
Those people who are reacting to uh, Christians being murdered or being assaulted.
I don't know. Are they Christians?
You just said these are people seeing how Muslims are treating Christians, and then they're reacting to that.
No, I don't get it. What do you mean?
Okay, so you gave the example of the imam being stabbed in the mosque, in the church.
Was that by a Muslim boy?
Sure. Let's say he's a Muslim boy, right?
Was he not a Muslim boy?
Yeah, let's say I don't remember the story, but yeah, let's say he was.
Okay. So what motivated him to stab him in the eye?
Well, it wouldn't be the Quran. It would nothing to do with Islam. And then we're
Well,
debating.
me and you will disagree on that, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, I probably would have the correct interpretation of Islam. You probably wouldn't, but that's neither here or there. The point being, these people were outraged at the idea of a Muslim doing something when it wasn't a Muslim with no evidence. What justification do they have that a Muslim would do this?
The justification that they had is someone put out the information that it was a Muslim boy that did it.
Right, but they had no evidence.
So,
they just had suspicion.
Yeah,
They came out in mass, caused all types of issues, vandalized the mosque to the point where the prime minister has to comment on it. So is it really to do with Islam, or is it to do with their perception of Islam?
It's definitely to do with the perception of Islam. I think these people don't like Islam. I think they like I said, they're not knowledgeable
Very
about
Muslim.
Islam, but they don't like Islam from what they see, and that's what caused that reaction. And what mainly sparked it was someone putting out that it was
Yeah.
a Muslim boy that did it. I think if I don't think they would have reacted that way if someone if they didn't put out that it was a Muslim boy that did it.
I don't think
But
they would as
Nelson,
well.
it's just an excuse because what we're talking about is just
I do agree
open,
with that as well. I do agree with that as well.
bigotry.
It's an
Because
excuse.
remember a while back we had this a man that just took his car and ran over some people outside of a mosque. If you remember that a while back.
Oh yes,
He
it was in
ran.
Tottenham. It was in Tottenham. Yeah, the
Okay.
Imam came out. Yeah. The
Right.
Imam
So
was almost killed.
let's say that guy was a Christian. I'm assuming that guy was. I'm going to make an assumption then, because everyone can make assumptions. Let's say that man was a Christian. Let's say that man was a Christian. Would Muslims now be justified in just attacking any random church that they see?
Say that again, John Michelle.
Would Muslims be justified if that man that did that was a Christian? Would
Yeah.
Muslims be justified if to go out there and attack any random church that they see?
I mean, I can't speak for Muslims and how they would
Well,
behave.
no, they wouldn't.
I can. It's unjustified. Yeah.
Yeah, it's unjustified because again, what it is it's an excuse to engage in bigotry and racism. That's all it is. Because it doesn't
No,
make
there's
any
that too.
logical
I agree with that
sense.
as well. Yeah, I
It
agree
doesn't
with
make
that as
any
well.
logical sense. Because if once a person behaves in a certain manner, why are we then still attributing that to a so-called faith or religion? Where most religions teach peaceful, unless during times of war or oppression, etc. Most religions, including Islam, don't go out there telling people, hey, go out there and just mercilessly kill people just for the sake of it. That's not in any tenet of Islam or any religion that I've seen. So this idea that because someone is a so-called a Muslim, that justifies them going to now attacking the whole religion or places of worship, where those things are not taught in those places. It's just an act of racism and prejudice. That's all it is. Because they don't act this way towards white Muslims, by the way. Chechens, whatever you call them, or Bosnians, whatever.
What do they call them?
Bosnians, like the Bosnians, like the white Muslims, Bosnians.
Albanians.
Oh, okay.
Right.
They're known as white Muslims.
Well, you know what I mean.
I don't.
They're
I
European.
have a different view of Islam. I'm not talking about Muslims. I have a different view of Islam. But I do agree that a lot of these guys are ignorant and they're just looking for an excuse to basically go out there and attack people and so on. I do agree with you on that 100% because I doubt that these guys know anything about Islam at all. I think they just hear propaganda and they don't even go out their way to actually read anything. They've heard a couple of verses, they probably take it out of context, or you know what I'm saying, they're not actually studying and all of that. I'm actually debating Muslims. So I'm actually trying to get to what the religion actually teaches. Most of these guys, I doubt they will even do any of that type of work. So they just. Let me just finish this last one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if do they just want to engage in hooliganism? Absolutely, I completely understand that, and you're right. They're not just because that has happened. It doesn't justify them going out there and doing what they did. Um, but to be honest with you, all I'm basically saying is not everything comes down to racism. I think whether people agree with it or not agree with it, that's neither here nor there. There's a mixture of feelings. Not everyone is just, oh, I hate them because of their skin tone or skin color or whatever. Some of them really don't like the religion.
So it would be a minority.
Okay, so hold on. So if you don't like the religion, Does that justify you going outside and throwing bricks at the place of worship?
No.
So what is it? What
No,
behavior is
if you don't
justified?
like if you don't like the
Yeah,
religion, if you don't
then
like the
ignore it.
religion,
Don't follow it. That's
yeah,
it.
if you don't like the religion, um, tell the
You
world
know,
because we've got the right to free speech. Tell the world, uh, try and force your government to change legislation or blah blah blah
Why?
that favors you because you don't like
Why,
something.
Nelson? Why? What right do you have to do that?
Because then we have to get into why that person doesn't like the religion in the first place. So
Because
for example,
they're
so for
intolerant.
example,
An answer could
yeah,
be
hold
because
on.
they're intolerant.
No, because secularism has been pushing Christianity out
Okay.
of the Western world. Okay, they've been doing that. They mock it consistently. They marginalize it. They attack it consistently, nonstop. They
No one
pass
does that
laws
more than
against.
Christians.
Hold on. No, they pass laws against Christianity. They do whatever it takes for Christians not to go out there. So for Christians to feel marginalized and not practice their religion. They do that all the time, and I respect that because this is a secular country, and everyone has the right to push whatever they like or don't like. Okay, so they've got that right, and everyone is trying to get themselves. Everyone's trying to push their agenda. The atheists are trying to do it. The Muslims are trying to do it. The Christians are trying to do it. Everyone is trying to do it, right? The secularists are trying to do it. Well, if the person doesn't like a certain religion, and that is the real motivation, and it's not necessarily because of their race, then yes, they have the right to try and influence the government to get them on their side. And I think that's what's happening now. I think that's what Tommy Robinson was doing.
wouldn't that be
I think
shooting
first of
themselves in the
June.
foot? Wouldn't they be shooting themselves in the foot because you're restricting freedom of religion, and that just further imposes on Christianity in the secular society?
What do you mean?
So the Muslims can't practice their religion because their religion is offensive or oppressive and such. Then that law gets put into place. What rights would the Christian have to practice their religion? They wouldn't, because to impose somebody to limit somebody's religious freedom limits everybody's religious freedom.
Yeah, but that's the consequences of living in a secular country.
So, but again, that would be shooting yourself in the foot. It would
But
be an
not
ignorant
only
pursuit.
that, also when you look at, because Nelson, you spoke about Christianity being marginalized and ridiculed, etc. You
In the
can't blame
West, yes.
Muslims for that. You can't blame Muslims for that.
No, I don't blame Muslims for that at all.
Yeah.
I
So
blame
so why so why so
I
why
blame the
they
Western
so
governments
so
for that.
so, so why are these people upset at Muslims? Be upset at your secular government. Why this cowardice,
Bro,
to be honest?
I'm with you 100.
Yeah,
percent
that's why
Everything that you're saying,
that's
I'm
why
with
I
you.
said
Yeah,
it's always about scapegoating, because Muslims have no bearing on Christianity being marginalized or ridiculed. They don't. In fact,
not in the West, not in the West. No,
ironically,
not in the West. Mm.
Or most of the
ironically,
world.
if you look at what happened recently in France with the mocking of
Last Supper,
the what do you call that, the table,
the Last
the
Supper.
mocking of the apostles and Jesus, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was mainly Muslim. I saw louder Muslim voices condemning that than the average Christian. So this is what I'm saying. So the idea that Muslims are marginalizing Christianity is nonsense. They don't do it. The people that do it are the secularists. And if these so-called hooligans had an issue with Islam, what's their issue? If they're saying that, oh, okay, it's because Christianity is being now marginalized, you
No,
can't
that's
blame
not
the
what they're
Muslims.
saying.
Muslims have their right to practice their religion.
Absolutely, in a country, in a government that gives people the right to practice their religious freedom. Yes, Muslims have the right in the secular world. Muslims have the right to practice their religion. So do Christians and so on. Okay, even though Christianity are being marginalized, yes, they don't. I do. I did not see. I will disagree with you on one thing, Joe Michelle. I did not see Muslims speaking louder or protesting louder than Christians. In fact, we have
I did.
thousands and thousands of Christians. Hold on, let me just finish. And we have
Sorry.
thousands and thousands of Christians in France, literally marching and praying
Okay.
for the actual government. In fact, we had big Christian sponsors that pulled out of the Olympics. I literally saw Christians from everywhere, churches from Orthodox to Catholics, literally condemning what took place. So yeah. But the thing is, you're absolutely right in the sense that these hooligans, these secularists, these people that are not even Christians, in a sense, they have no right to attack the Muslim. Absolutely, and I agree with you. Attacking the mosque, that
Right.
was absolutely wrong. What they did was wrong. What they did was absolutely wrong. If they have an issue with the Muslims, they need to take it up with their own government because it's their own government that allows it. If they have an
But what
issue,
we need to do now is we need to go into the psyche. But why would you attack a mosque? Because you believe someone who has a Muslim name, because you don't know. This is the issue with me. All they have to have is a Muslim name. Why would you think that's acceptable to attack a mosque because you believe someone that has a Muslim name has done an egregious act? Where's the correlation? This is
And to
why I
blame
don't
all
understand.
Mus-
Where's
to
the
blame all
correlation?
and to blame all Muslims as well. That's one. Two,
Yeah.
you can literally Google Muslim leaders speaking out against the Olympic imagery of the Last Supper. I don't know if the Pope has said anything to point out how offensive the image of the Last Supper it was at the Olympics. But the idea that Muslims, I can't see Muslims speaking out in great number about the Olympics, it's not true. If you look for it, you'll find it.
Can I make a quick
That's
point though? Just a quick
so
yes.
so
side
you're
point.
saying that Muslim voices were loud. Muslims spoke more than the Christians themselves.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying when you say I couldn't see it, is if you look for it, you'll find it.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. But what I
Yeah.
could see as the majority
Yeah.
is the church is speaking out against it. Bishops too speaking out against it. What I saw is thousands of Christians literally were. This is the question. That's why I asked you the question. So you're telling me that more Muslims spoke up against it than Christians did?
No, I don't know. I don't think so. But the idea that I didn't see Muslims speaking out against this. Did you see Muslims speaking out against the Last Supper in great
I
number?
wasn't. I wasn't looking for Muslims or Christians speaking out against it. It's just what. It's just what kept coming up. It's just
Sure.
what
So
kept coming up. So I never
yeah,
actually went out of my way to count how many Muslims spoke out against it, how many Christians spoke out against it. But
yeah,
from what I've seen, from what I
yeah.
saw, it was mostly the entire Christian world speaking up against
Yeah.
Can I say
Well,
something now? This is going to be a very controversial statement I'm going to make. Okay,
it. Go ahead, bro. It's the Solution Podcast. Go ahead, bro. Come
very
on, man.
controversial. If you really understand what that picture represents and the art, the Da Vinci picture of the Last Supper, they didn't do anything wrong.
yeah.
Because if you understand the real meaning behind that picture, it's actually about transgenderism. It's about
Leonardo da Vinci.
it's an occultic picture that has Jesus with a male boyfriend who's potentially Mary
Mary Magdalene.
Magdalene, but the picture itself is drawn by a homosexual.
Yeah.
Da Vinci was a homosexual. He put feminine and masculine mythology, occult symbols in that picture. So actually, they weren't doing anything wrong because they were actually giving true homage to the author of that picture and the meaning behind the robe. That robe, that Last Supper had nothing to do with Christianity. That's occult. That's occult mythology. I'm just throwing that in there because if you understand the real meaning behind stuff, we're gonna get deep. So
Yeah.
I understand. I get why Christians are upset. I'm not saying they shouldn't be upset, but if they really understood the meaning behind that picture and the author, who was a homosexual, okay, the author of that picture was a homosexual, the outrage is a bit ill-judged.
Yeah. And
Um,
the Olympics itself, a pagan
Thank you.
homosexual event. A
Yep.
homosexual event. Most of it was done naked. At the end of it, they would have homosexual sex. So the Olympics itself is something that is pagan or foreign to a seemingly monotheistic religion.
But just do some research on that Last Supper. Look at the actual mathematics of the picture, the occult symbology, the masculine feminine symbology in that picture, and go and do some research, and you'll see that picture is not Christian, and it was actually drawn by a homosexual who knew what he was doing by having an ambiguous, a gender ambiguous figure right next to the so-called Jesus in that picture. that person next to Jesus is sexually ambiguous on purpose. It actually is.
Um,
That picture is actually of a real person, by the way. That picture was Da Vinci's lover, and he drew him in a series of pictures.
Okay.
Don't take my word for
uh,
this, by the way, guys. Go and do the. Don't take my word for this. Go and do
okay,
the research.
okay. Now I actually do remember her son bringing this up and say that that was not a mockery of the Last Supper.
Yeah.
That was just was it that was just Greek
Dionysus. Dionysus.
Dionysus, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The god, the
Um,
so-called god of festivities and wine.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. One of the Greek gods, right? Okay. The Last Supper is something that's recorded in the Bible. That's just a fact.
That's true. That's true.
The Last Supper, you guys can read all about it. It's there. The Last Supper. All right. Jesus at the table with all the apostles. Um, Pictures of the Last Supper have been drawn on throughout since the very beginning. Okay. Not since the very beginning. Um, but later, as you go on through the Christian history, pictures of the Last Supper have always been recorded, have always been drawn. So this is not something specific to Da Vinci. Did Da Vinci? Is it Da Vinci? Leonardo da Vinci? Is that the guy that?
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Leonardo da Vinci uh did did draw that picture, did draw the picture of the Last Supper. Now everything that John Michel said, I don't know. I think John Michel is alluding to the Da Vinci Code, the movie,
No, bro.
and
This. I knew about this way before the movie.
waiting for the movie. Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah,
So I don't know about
let's do some
I don't
research. Let's do some research on that actual picture itself
And
and
the
the
sex
hidden
life
meaning
of
behind the picture, and
yeah, yeah.
you'll
No,
see
no,
what
hold on,
it
hold
is.
on. Let me just make my point.
and the sex life of Leonardo da Vinci is very
Yeah,
important.
Right.
let me just to us his sex life or who he was as a homosexual to us best if someone does something good or if someone draws something accurately of, let's say someone draws a picture of the Bible, just because that person is gay, it has no bearing on that type of picture to us. But
Pictures.
so the pictures of the Last Supper is not new to Leonardo da Vinci. It has been drawn before in the past. It has been drawn all throughout the history of Christianity. Now, I don't know everything, all the claims that John Michel. I will look into that. Absolutely, I will look into that. Going back to the Olympics, the excuse was that apparently this was not an attack on Christianity. We Christians just like to feel like victims. We're just making it all up. So I just want to quickly play this video here. If you guys don't mind, if you just give me it before we move on into the next one. Um, just to show.
Just a few days ago, the Olympics' apparent mockery of Christianity was met with near universal condemnation from both Christians and non-Christians alike. It seemed like almost everyone, no matter what they believed, were coming to the defense of Christianity and said that the mocking of the Last Supper of Christ was wrong and that they were fully against it. But now, it seems that that sentiment has changed on social media. Several non-Christians and even a lot of Christians are now saying that not only did the Olympic opening ceremony have nothing whatsoever to do with Christianity or the Last Supper, but Christians get worked up too easy, are too sensitive, and have a persecution complex. This change of heart started once the Olympic organizers and the artistic director claimed that all of this was one big misunderstanding. They claimed that this scene, with all of the people at the table, was not actually a reenactment of the Last Supper, despite its resemblance, but instead it was just a depiction of the Greek god Dionysus, and the setting was merely an ancient festival meant to honor him. So once this narrative started to make its rounds on social media, several people started to claim that Christians were wrong in their outrage and were suffering from a mere persecution complex. But others took the statement from the Olympics to be gaslighting, and they did so for lots of reasons. According to Jonathan Pajot,
this is actually one of the funniest things about this event, is all these people and a lot of Christians going online saying, it's actually not the Last Supper. You know, it's the Feast of Dionysus. Why are all the Christians getting so
Sorry, guys, can you just put yourselves on mute because I can hear loads of feedback in the back.
annoyed? You know, I am educated. Christians getting so annoyed. You know, I am educated. I understand that this is the Feast of Dionysus. The capacity of people to easily accept gaslighting is hilarious. The scene is clearly referencing the Last Supper. The name of the tableau was a wordplay in French, which is something like, basically, if you translate it into English, it means the scene of the Last Supper on the Seine River. Because in French, one of the words for the Last Supper is la Seine. And so, la Seine de la Seine sur la Seine, right? And so the name of the tableau was referencing the Last Supper. The head of the event said that he was referencing the Last Supper. The main person in the middle, the DJ, she posted on Instagram saying that it was the New Gay Testament. She deleted, of course, the post later and changed it by saying, no, it is Dionysus. And so, first of all, clearly it was referencing Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper.
And the post that he was referring to this woman who posted saying, oh yes, the New Gay Testament. So clearly this seems to suggest that even she thought it was a parody of the Last Supper. But what I find so interesting about all of this is that first, we're told that we're cowards for not making a big deal about it and not standing up against the people who are mocking our faith.
Or any Christian.
Yeah, guys. Yeah, go ahead. Hello.
Yep.
I just sent you a video, which you wouldn't, if you want to quickly show it.
Yeah.
Two videos. If you can show the.
Oh, can you share it, bro? That might be quickly though.
No,
You
I
can
can't
share
do
it.
it. I'm on my phone. I'm not on my laptop.
Oh, my bad. Hold on.
So it's called the last. So there's two when I sent you. I waited to do the one that's the second one I sent you.
Which one do you want to play?
It's got a little yellow arrow on the picture. You see the little yellow arrow?
Yeah, sure.
Play that one.
Yeah, hold on a second. Let me just. Yeah, guys, talk amongst yourselves. While I get the stuff.
Yeah. So Hassan, have you heard this kind of what I'm saying? Have you heard it? Have you come across what I'm saying before?
What,
About
Leonardo
that
da
picture?
Vinci?
Yeah. And
I've heard some of it. I've heard the Mary Magdalene. I've heard that the Jesus wasn't depicted wasn't actually Jesus, but somebody he knew, and he's painted him before. And I know the occult, and because I think he's involved in Leonardo da Vinci was he put a lot of symbolism and
right,
because he was a mathematician and a physicist. Well, he was he was a very intelligent person, and he put a lot of symbology in his work. Yeah, so I knew this is true, but I think unfortunately because Western culture and Christian culture have become so intertwined, the requirements for what would be defined as Christian work has been overlapped by nationalism and such.
But if you notice, not many Christian churches don't use that picture. They don't have that picture represented in their churches because a lot of them understand that this is a cult piece.
Yeah,
this is about what they call the divine feminine. If you really the inverted chalice, the inverted triangle, that's what he put into that picture, which represents femininity, which represents the divine feminine. Mm-hmm. That's what that was about, and that's why you had that gender, that the figure in that picture that you can't tell is a man or a woman, and that's done on purpose.
They were very true to Leonardo da Vinci's work, I guess.
Yes, it is. By the way, Leonardo da Vinci drew pictures of someone being actual buggered, himself buggering someone, an image of one of his servants being buggered. Okay, this is I'm not making that up. This is the sketches. The book of sketches.
My only answer to all of that, I don't know any of that. I can't confirm any of that to be true.
I've got it here now.
Okay.
Yeah, Leonardo and sex and sexuality. It's quite a graphic image, actually.
Very graphic.
It was a sketch. It was a sketch. So I think you didn't get.
It was a sketch. Yeah, sketches. Yeah. It was. It was in his book of sketches.
Yeah, it was on his off time.
Yeah, this is true. I do that in my off time. What I got up to last night.
Yeah. In between painting.
Yeah.
So was the first pornographer?
Is it this one? Yeah.
He's the first pornographer, basically.
No, the one with the yellow. It's got a yellow arrow.
Isn't it this one?
The one I sent you two. It's the one that has the
Yeah,
yellow arrow.
so that's the one with the yellow arrow.
Okay, let's
Yeah,
go for it.
that's the one with the yellow arrow. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Fair
the one.
use.
Fair use.
Fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use. I don't want them blocking me or anything. Fair use, fair use.
It's not playing, by the way, Nelson.
Sorry?
Yeah, I can't
not
hit
playing.
play. Yeah, I thought you
It's not
guys
playing.
were. Yeah.
Oh, it's not playing.
No.
Click play. Click play.
Hold on. It wasn't playing. Hold on.
At all. I thought you guys were doing back end.
Represent the maximum
That's it.
peak
Is it
of
playing
the
now?
technique
Yeah,
reached
yeah, yeah.
during the Italian Renaissance. Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper represents the maximum peak of the technique reached during the Italian Renaissance. But this is not only a work of incredible value, according to many. It hides secret messages within itself. Is he the disciple called John or Mary Magdalene? What are the new symbols behind this fresco? All of this will be explained in this episode. The background. Before we dive into the painting itself, let's discuss some background information. The Last Supper is a mural painting by the Italian High Renaissance artist Leonardo da Vinci, dated 1495 to 1498. The painting represents the scene of the Last Supper of Jesus with the 12 apostles, specifically the moment after Jesus announces that one of his apostles will betray him. The work was commissioned as part of a plan of renovations to the church and its convent buildings by Leonardo's patron Ludovico Sforza, Duke of Milan. The fresco covers an end wall of the dining hall at the monastery of Santa Maria delle Grazie in Milan, Italy. The subjects. All 12 apostles have different reaction to the news, with various degrees of anger and shock. From left to right, according to the apostles' head, we have Bartholomew, James, son of Alphaeus, and Andrew. All are surprised. Judas Iscariot, Peter, and John form another group of 3. Judas is wearing red, blue, and green, and is in shadow, looking withdrawn and taken aback by the sudden revelation of his plan. He is clutching a small bag, perhaps signifying the silver given to him as a payment to betray Jesus. He is also tipping over the salt cellar, which may be related to the Near Eastern expression to betray the salt, meaning to betray one's master. He is the only person to have his elbow on the table, and his head is also vertically the lowest of anyone in the painting. Peter wears an expression of anger and appears to be holding a knife. He is leaning towards John and touching him on the shoulder. The youngest apostle, John, appears to be faint and leans toward Peter. Jesus. Thomas, James the Greater, and Philip are the next group of 3. Thomas is clearly upset. The raised index finger foreshadows his incredulity of the resurrection. James the Greater looks stunned, with his arm in the air. Meanwhile, Philip appears to be requesting some explanation. Matthew, Jude Thaddeus, and Simon the Zealot are the final group of 3. Both Thaddeus and Matthew are turned towards Simon, perhaps to find out if he has any answer to their initial questions. In common with other depictions of the Last Supper from this period, Leonardo seats the diners on one side of the table, so that none of them has his back to the viewer. The angles and lighting draw attention to Jesus. The painting demonstrated Da Vinci's masterful use of perspective, as it draws our attention to the face of Christ at the center of the composition. And Christ's face, through his downturned gaze, directs our focus along the diagonal of his left arm to his hand and therefore the bread. Damage. Before Leonardo as a painter favored oil painting, a medium that allows the artist to work slowly and make changes with ease. Fresco painting does not facilitate either of these objectives. Rather than using the proven method of painting on walls, because of the method used, soon after the painting was...
Let me know, John Michelle, where you want me to stop, yeah?
completed, in 1498 it began to deteriorate. The technique used to paint the fresco was not the best, plus the place chosen was wrong, due to the
Yeah, you can stop because
Yeah, go ahead,
this is
bro.
the video. This isn't the video that I wanted to show. I pretty
Is it?
researched it
Oh,
first
okay.
before I put it out. The video I
Okay.
wanted to show is much more deeper meaning in terms of what was being portrayed in that picture. This is more kind of just a detail, like artistic.
Yeah.
But I'll find it and I'll show it another time. But yeah, there's a lot of it.
Basically, sorry, Jojo. Basically, I think it's some guy
He
called
did
Dan
allude to
Brown.
he did bring up the fact of the Mary Magdalene and the John the Baptist. Sorry, John. The fact that he made it purposely a female figure there, and not a male figure, and that's what they eventually did on purpose.
Yeah, that's basically the claim of Dan Brown, in his fiction, in his novel fiction, where he basically turned around and made the claim that that is not a man, that is not John, is actually Mary
Yeah,
Magdalene.
but Dan Brown got it
It's
from
not fake.
that's been around for hundreds of years. So he didn't come up with that.
Yeah, that's the thing is, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But this is where the whole thing started from, is from Dan Brown. Now, if this had been going on for, I'm gonna have to see evidence of that. But Dan Brown is the one that basically started this whole thing and popularized it and made it into a big thing and said, oh, that's not John, that's Mary the Magdalene, and then he built his theory out of that. Everything else that John Michel said about who Leonardo da Vinci was, him being homosexual and all of that is true. Um, I doubt that he was very much. I doubt that he was a devout Catholic if he was moving in those circles. But nevertheless, the guy had a gift for painting, and but throughout history, we've always understood as the Last Supper, Jesus and his apostles. But to me, all I see is people making their interpretations, looking at the picture and making interpretations as to what they think the picture says. But someone like Dan Brown, who probably hates Catholics or Christianity, of course, I mean, I wouldn't put it past him to draw those conclusions and try to, think that this is what's happening in
Can we
history.
spend a couple of minutes just maybe watching the first video I sent just to see if that has go a bit more deep? If it's not, we'll just turn it off.
Absolutely,
If
absolutely, my
if
brother, absolutely.
if Leonardo da Vinci was a devout Catholic or Christian person, and you're
Mhm.
not an amateur pornographer, do you think he would have instilled so much ambiguity into his pictures?
Well, you're saying that he instilled a lot of ambiguity to his picture. Maybe you're
Yeah,
seeing what you want to see.
I shouldn't be able to see a woman or
Right.
what else is there, or somebody that's supposedly his lover. Also, other pictures of him, Leonardo da Vinci, making other pictures of sex acts. I mean, if he was a devout Christian, I can't unsee what I see.
Which specific picture are you talking? You talking
Well,
about pictures of him and his lover, or are you talking about the Last Supper?
well,
Well, let's get this right. Da Vinci was not anywhere by any way, shape, or form a Christian. He was an occultist.
There's
Let's
also
just get that out of the way. He was not a Christian. He was an occultist.
that.
and if he wasn't an occultist, there wouldn't be so much ambiguity in his pictures. I wouldn't be able to see.
Yeah, but you keep saying there's ambiguity. Yeah,
Yeah,
fine, okay.
that's clearly
But
a
maybe,
woman. Or
yeah,
it's
maybe
right
you're
next to
seeing
Jesus.
the hold on, maybe you're seeing the
Sorry.
ambiguity in it. Maybe you're seeing the
Yeah,
ambiguity in it. What I'm
yeah,
saying is, if there is
yeah,
ambiguity, to me, says nothing about the Christian faith. If
yeah,
he did attempt to draw a woman instead of a man, okay,
yeah.
I've always looked at the picture as on. I never looked at it as Mary Magdalene because it's a picture about the Last Supper, and Mary Magdalene is not there. Is not with the 12 disciples. Is not in that room with
Mhm.
Jesus and the 12 disciples. So to me, the picture is about that. It's not about Mary Magdalene. But if you're saying that, oh, it is Mary Magdalene, then I guess that's up to you, bro. Is this the one? Because
Yeah.
this is the one here,
Try
yeah.
that
Okay,
one. Yeah, that's the one there that you highlighted. Just try that.
this one here. Okay.
Yeah, it's not the same one, is it?
20th century director Alfred Hitchcock, who famously did
That is the same one. You can see the screen, right, bro? You can
Yeah.
see the screen.
Yeah.
This is what comes up basically. This is this one perhaps. So Jamshel, which one do you want to look?
The first one that has Last Supper written on it. That one, yeah.
This one here. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Perhaps the most famous of all of Leonardo da Vinci's paintings is his 15th century depiction of the Last Supper. Leonardo was hardly the first to artistically depict this sacred scene from the life of Christ, but he certainly was unique in his approach. Secrets revealed. The mysterious messages hidden in Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper. During the Italian Renaissance, art was typically used as a teaching device, calculated in its composition and intentional in the messages. It was designed to share and reveal. Leonardo was no exception to this approach, famous for his use of subtle symbolism in his various paintings. For example, like the 20th century director Alfred Hitchcock, who famously did a cameo in 40 of his 54 movies, Leonardo is believed to have regularly placed a portrait of himself in many of his pieces. Indeed, some believe that the Mona Lisa is actually a picture of Leonardo imagining himself as a woman. Even the controversial Shroud of Turin is believed by some to be a Leonardo hoax, displaying his image rather than the image of Christ. In his painting of The Last Supper, most art historians believe that the figure of Thaddeus, also known as Jude, second from the right in the painting, is Leonardo, standing in for the ancient apostle. Leonardo's well-recognized painting of The Last Supper has been the subject of numerous conspiracy theories, speculating about its various symbols and their meanings. Some of what he included in the masterpiece has obvious meaning. Other symbols depicted are clearly deliberate, but as to Leonardo's intent, one can only conjecture. Let's look at some of what this powerful piece conveys. It seems significant that, quote, the picture occupies an end wall in the dining hall at the convent of Santa Maria della Grazia in Milan, end quote. How apropos that a mural about the Last Supper should be displayed in the dining hall or eating area of a religious order. The scene the painting depicts is the moment immediately after Christ shocked his apostles with the surprise announcement that one of them would betray him. As would be expected, Jesus is at the center of the scene, his body forming a triangle, symbolic of the Holy Trinity. Indeed, the apostles are divided into 4 groups of 3, creating a symmetry that also repetitively highlights the 3 persons of the Trinity. Even the fact that there are 3 windows behind Jesus has been seen by some as a symbol of the Trinity. Perhaps the second most symbolic figure in the painting is Judas Iscariot. Note how his head is lower than everyone else in the scene, suggesting his descent into darkness. Related to that is the fact that Judas' countenance or complexion is the only one that is dark or shadowed in the painting. He is holding a bag of money, presumably the 30 pieces of silver he has been paid to betray Jesus. The apostate apostle is depicted as left-handed. Anciently, the left hand symbolized that which was sinister and was often associated with those who were insane or had rejected God. Left-handedness was seen as a curse and a sign of, quote, bad luck, an indication of evil things to come, end quote. Thus, one source noted that, quote, Judas uses his left hand rather than the right to foretell Christ's fate, end quote, hinting that Judas would betray him. Subtly placed is a salt container, which Judas has knocked over, spilling its contents onto the table. In the book of Leviticus, salt was a symbol of the covenant, and thus Judas spilling the salt symbolizes the notion that his covenant relationship with Christ had been severed or ruptured.
They're saying pretty much the same thing, yeah.
But you see the gap between the figure, the ambiguous figure in Jesus. That space there, the triangle there, is what I wanted them to talk about. But I have to find the
Oh,
video.
okay.
But anyway, yeah.
Shouts to everyone watching. We've got 36 of you guys watching. Shouts to all of you. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, we got a little bit lost on this one. We got a little bit lost on this one, but I definitely, they were definitely mocking Christianity, the Last Supper, and so on and so forth. But I hear what you're saying. I'm definitely going to look into what you're saying, John Michelle, in terms of all the hidden meanings.
But never
Um,
forget that the people that are complaining that it was a homosexual kind of feast, and the picture that you're defending, that many Christians are defending, and saying is being mocked, was drawn by a homosexual.
yeah. We've got no issues with that. But the initial.
Hold on a second. You've got no
Go ahead.
issues with that. Hassan, do you hear that?
Yeah.
A person's
The Christians have got no issue with one of the most famous pictures depicting Jesus being drawn by a homosexual.
Yeah. Let me explain. Let me
Okay.
explain. The reason why we have no issue, the reason why we have no issues with that is because just because a person is of a certain what do you call it, orientation, sexual orientation, um, the drawing has nothing to do with his sexual orientation, providing what is drawing is not it's not homosexual. It's not none of that type of stuff. If he draws something homosexual, which is sinful, then that's fine. But a person's orientation, for example, it's like me saying, just because a person is homosexual, and they do a good act, does that stop being a good act just because
Okay.
their orientation, their
Is it a
sexual
holy
orientation?
picture?
No.
Okay, so
It's a
why would
great.
people get so offended by it then?
No. It's a picture. It's a great picture.
But it's not
But it's
holy.
not. It's not holy. It's not holy.
Well,
We
then
don't
I don't
consider
understand
that
the
to be.
outrage.
Yeah, we don't consider that to be the. It's the significance of the picture. The significance of the picture is supposed to portray the Last Supper, and it's something that's historical. It is a great picture, but holy implies that it has some kind of divine blessing or divine. You see what I'm saying? Like that's something. There's some divine attribute to it, but there isn't.
Right.
It's just a picture that Leonardo da Vinci drew. That we've. It's historical. It's a great picture, and it's
So
part of the Christian
why?
art.
So why would somebody be offended if 600 years later or 700 years later another homosexual depicts the same thing and interprets it slightly differently?
Slightly differently because
Yeah.
because there was no transgenders there. There was no transgenders on the Last Supper.
Well, okay. So you have the image of what is maybe a man, maybe a woman, slightly to the right of Jesus.
That is true.
No, even the theory that you're talking about, according to Dan Brown, is trying to imply that Jesus had some kind of relationship with Mary Magdalene.
Yeah.
It
But what
has
was Mary
nothing.
doing there?
It has nothing. There was. I don't see Mary in there. You see
Who is
Mary in
that?
there.
Who is that?
Who is that? That's supposed to be John, the 12 disciples.
Okay.
It's a woman though.
That's what I'm trying to say. The people are looking at the picture. They're saying that's a woman, but it's supposed to be John. It is not supposed to be Mary Magdalene. Mary
So
Magdalene is
why
not
is he
supposed to be in
drawn?
the picture.
Why is he drawn with long hair and no one else is drawn with feminine features and
Yeah.
long hair? No one else in the picture is drawn that way.
No one else in the picture has long hair. Well, people, Jesus,
Feminine features.
Yeah.
feminine features.
Yeah,
Well,
look. Have you had a
John
good
was
look at that picture, Nelson?
yeah. John. I'll explain. Let's explain. John was known to be um, uh, very soft, very how do I say, very loving. I think it was very close to Jesus, John. But he was like how do you say this? A very sensible, sensitive soul. That's who John was. That's maybe that's what what's his name Leonardo da Vinci was trying to portray, and that's why maybe it came across. I mean, I can't speak for Leonardo da Vinci and why he tried to portray him in a very feminine manner. But because I don't know the mind of an artist,
He's probably
and
pro trans.
but for example, Peter was very outspoken, very manly, very aggressive. John did not have that character. So you've got different. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's how an artist perceives it, but there was not Mary of Magdalene was not on the Last Supper. She was not there. I'm
She's in the
I'm, I'm
picture,
trying.
though.
No,
She's in the
that's
picture.
your that's your interpretation.
And is it a coincidence that a homosexual man is painting a picture and he puts a somewhat gender ambiguous person in there? You don't see Mary Magdalene, but I do, and others see Mary Magdalene.
Well, you can infer that, but
Sure,
that's still
fair
your
enough.
opinion, right?
Yeah, that's my interpretation. It's my artistic
That's your
interpretation.
that's your interpretation. That's what I'm trying to say. You can infer all of that, but that's me. I can't get into the mind of an artist or why an artist drew in that way. But what you're doing is you're inferring and you're coming up with all these conclusions, maybe because it suits your bias, you know.
Yeah, vice
And
versa. Vice versa maybe suits your bias.
no,
It's not
no,
Mary
no, no, no,
Magdalene.
no. To me, I don't know what was in his mind. I'm being asked to explain what was in his mind. But the
Yep,
thing is, all I can say is the picture was
yep.
always supposed to be about the Last Supper. So, for example, if
Okay.
it was not about the Last Supper, they would have never looked at it as, they would have never, it would have never been regarded as a great painting, blah blah blah. But the picture was supposed to be the Last Supper. When we look at the scriptures, there was no Mary in the Last Supper. There was no Mary Magdalene in the Last Supper. I mean, we have to agree to disagree, but I mean, it's up to you. If that's what you guys see, that's what you guys see. But John Michelle did ask me about the feminine features and so on and so forth. And I spoke about how John, in a sense, is described in the Bible. Is described in the Bible as a gentle soul, as a very gentle soul, and maybe that's what Leonardo da Vinci was trying to capture. I don't personally think he did a good job of it, but at the end of the day, what I see is the Last Supper. And if that was Mary Magdalene, then that's definitely not the Last Supper. And if that's what he did, but that's what I say, it has no impact on us because we don't consider it to be a holy picture. It's
So why get outraged
it's just a
when
picture
the so why get outraged when the Olympics does the same thing?
because they're mocking the Last Supper, and the Last Supper is recorded in the scriptures. So there was a table. Jesus did sit in that table with the disciples. The supper did happen, and all of that. And like I said, loads of pictures are being drawn about the Last Supper. This is not the only picture. And this is what I'm trying to say. So the outrage was because of that. And they put a whole bunch of transgenders in it. They tried to be funny with it. That's what they tried to do. But it's fine. They can gaslight, they can do all of their little tricks and all of that and try to, it's what they do, but it's what they do. But now we've got someone to talk about, unless anyone has anything else to say in regards to
No, that was a good
this.
discussion. That was interesting. That was interesting.
Yeah. I don't, bro. I don't think it has no bearing on the Christian faith. It's just a picture by
Yeah.
some gay guy who drew a picture because he had the gift of thingy.
Yeah.
I don't consider him a Christian or nothing. You know what I'm saying? But no one can tell me that that was not a mockery of the Last Supper.
Can we see the image?
Huh?
Can we see the
I don't.
image? Let me
Can you
oh,
find it and send it
yeah,
quickly?
because
Because I know
because
you're good at finding this stuff.
because I've got
I'll try and find Jake. I'll try and find Jake on.
what there's another topic.
Yeah, bro, Jake.
Oh, I thought it was only two topics.
Jake, I was just gonna ask you
I
the.
was I was talking about the thumbnail. Oh, fair enough. I
Oh
was
no,
basing
I'm
on
not
the
gonna
thumb.
put. I'm not gonna put down the thumbnail, bro. A picture. That's
Yeah,
that's
I just like
insulting, and that's demeaning, and it's not that
I just
important.
yeah I just yeah I got it here. I got the last
Yeah, 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 yeah.
The first Olympic supper.
The first Olympic supper. They took the mick. They really did.
But the whole thing is suspicious anyway. The Olympics, they don't they. Sorry, let me get a better image. 1 second.
Yeah, I can't really see nothing there, bro.
I'm a tech wizard, so I can get this.
Bro, you're gonna have to put that Jake thing up.
Oh, I didn't know this was gonna be that thing. If you guys want to talk about it, it's what it is. Yeah, I got it. I got the Olympic
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, better. You want to make it
No,
bigger?
it's not better, bro. But yeah,
I can see it.
I mean, I can see it. It's fine. There you go. Why didn't you do that from the beginning, Hassan?
I have to test out the image. So
Uh,
this is what threw me off. The guy in blue, because he's meant to be Dionysus. He's got he's meant to be Dionysus. That's
yeah,
what
but
threw me off.
before that guy in blue came on the stage or something, they showed that picture of the table and that fat woman in the middle and all of that type of stuff. Yeah, so bro, it's a mockery of the Last Supper, bro. But they can't
The
be
only
too obvious.
the only reason I believe now that it's the mockery of the Christian interpretation of the Last Supper is the text messages and the messages or whatever it is it's Instagram posts that they were sharing before the event.
Yeah, for the event, exactly.
The lady said this is the last gay supper or something, or the first gay supper or something like this.
There you go. Yeah.
So I'm thinking you if somebody what's the expression, just behind the lines of deniability or plausible deniability. That's it. So it was a case of is it the Last Supper? Is it Dionysus? And what they were trying to do is, in my opinion, just make the lines very blurry so it goes under the radar, in my opinion. And obviously people just picked up on it straight away and were outraged.
But what was more interesting to me was the pale horse being followed by all the flags of the world. Did you see that one?
Wow. Yeah, you clocked that one. Oh my days.
That's
Yeah.
what I found more interesting. That you had the pale horse, which is death, and you had all the flags. That's actually in the Bible. It's actually depicted in the
That.
Bible.
Yep. Yeah, you
That the
caught that,
world would
bro.
follow behind. So that was clearly, like, they clearly were taking the scripture from Revelations and tried to depict it there. No doubt about that.
Apparently, the entire thing was um, basically an attack on the Bible and Christianity. The entire thing was just basically based on that. I've watched some videos where people are mentioning that they picked up on other things that they did. It's a shame that I can't. I wish I could watch that entire thing now, but for some reason, no one has a
I've
link
got
to
it.
it. No one has. You've got a link
I've
to
got
the
it.
entire
But
thing
if you
from the very
understand the
beginning.
history, if you understand the history of France, it's a
Yeah.
perfect place for it, because the French Revolution is
Facts.
actually the beginning
Of
of
all of
bringing
this. Yeah,
secularism into
What's
actually condemning the whole concept of religion. I mean, all of that happened in the French Revolution.
that's
So
right.
that's where, and also the whole Freemasonry and the occult
Hmm.
has very strong ties to France.
I've got the pale horse as well.
The period of enlightenment. Most of
There
the
you go.
authors of the period of enlightenment were all French. The
Yeah,
majority of them. They
yeah,
had a few English ones in there, but the
yeah,
majority of them were all French.
yeah,
Like what you basically said right now, John, show is
yeah.
literally the period of enlightenment. That's
There
exactly,
you go.
and
Yeah.
France had everything to do with it. This is why the mockery was on the next level. This is why. Also, this is the thing, right?
Pale horse. Fair
Okay,
use. Fair use.
fair use, fair use. Guys, let's get into Jake Paul right now. Let's get into Jake Paul right now.
Well, you're a good friend.
Bro, I can't believe he posted this, bro. You better send that link to me, Hassan. You better send that link to me.
I
Hold on
didn't
a
know this
second.
was. I didn't know this was going to be the topic.
Bro,
This is
I'm not gonna put that on the thumbnail, bro. I'm not gonna put that on the thumbnail.
no. What I mean to say is, I'm sure Jake is watching. I'm sure Jake is watching.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, from what I saw, Jake has got blonde hair now.
Hold on a second. Yeah, it
Oh
does.
wow.
Yeah.
So basically what he's done is there's a racist image of the football player Saka, which depicts him as a orangutan or monkey, whatever that is. And that was shared. A bit of background. So that was shared when Saka missed a penalty in the last year. Was it last World Cup or last Euros?
I think it's Euro.
Missed a penalty.
Was it World Cup? Sorry, World Cup. Euros was just recent.
Yeah, he missed a penalty, and so to mock him, they started depicting him as a primate, basically.
Who did that? Who started doing that?
Racist people online, bro. You know,
probably the same people protesting in Southport.
Yeah, probably. So
was it? No, what I'm saying was it coming from English people? Yeah.
Yeah, it was English people. Yeah, mocking him.
Damn.
So-called English fans, so-called. So that's where this picture comes from. How Jake has got his hands in it, I don't know. But what I do know is this. It's very telling to me that someone like him is promoting racial images, because Jake is the epitome of what you call someone suffering from an identity crisis. Jake is a brown-eyed, brown-haired Mexican. Okay? His family are Mexican. He is Mexican. He is not white Anglo-Saxon. However, he's in his desperation to be accepted. He's not only has he blonde his hair, which I find hilarious, he now is going all in, because what this is about he has, for you to fit in to a specific group, you have to be seen to take on their ways and norms. So in him taking on the ways and norms of the alt-white or alt-right, I call them, you have to be seen to be even more dyed in the wool when it comes to their kind of racism and anti-black bias. So not only is he doing it to kind of ingratiate himself to these people, but it's a way for him to distance himself from his own people who have African ancestry. That's why Jake makes a point to talk about his Spanish ancestry and not his African ancestry, because he does have it. He has an African grandmother in his lineage. Most Mexicans have an African person in their lineage. He has one.
Yeah, they mix the Taino and Africans. Once the transatlantic slave trade,
so that's him included. Yeah, that's to promote his Spanish ancestry, because he has identity crisis. He has self-hate issues, and his way to kind of feel better about himself is to ingratiate himself with who he considers to be. Remember the famous quote, "The articulate white man." This comes from him. This is his quote.
Oh yeah.
This is his quote about the articulate white man. So he wants to align himself with the articulate white man. So to do that, and particularly the articulate racist the articulate racist white man is who he wants to ingratiate himself with. So he blondes his hair, and he takes on all their talking points, and then he's out there now, no different from the average Anglo-Saxon racist. There's no difference in the output between him and them now. So it's actually sad, because this is someone that also is ashamed of his own lineage. He's ashamed of his own background. And he's actually said that he hates these people from his own background. This is his words. He uses racial epithets to describe people coming in from the border from Mexico. This is what he does. So I'm surprised that he's now going full racist.
Look what he wrote. Would you let your daughter date him, or are you a white supremacist?
Right. So why again? So what? Again, that's the language he's using.
Jake
shows you who is identifying with.
Jake didn't write that.
No, Jake didn't write that. It was Rev Ray.
But the fact that he's reposting, he's co-signing that message.
Yeah.
He's co-signing that message, and he says, "I can see all the white people sweating right now."
It's pretty sad to see.
It is. It's actually sad.
We did highlight that Jake had these issues, and now I'm glad you've highlighted that we were right again. Once again, we were right. We did diagnosed him very well.
Yes, we did. And anyone for anyone watching who doesn't know who Jake is, basically he's part of Project VO Pod, and he used to have debates with us all the time, and so on and so forth. So that's who Jake basically is, and that's all there is to him. And we came to find out that he's basically a racist. It's a shame he hasn't changed.
No, we don't use
Apparently,
that word
it
lightly.
looks
That's
like
the thing. We
no,
don't use that word lightly at all.
yeah, exactly. We don't. We don't. We're not out here screaming. Yeah, I remember when he first used the N word, no one even said anything. But this is what I'm trying to say. Is that we gave him such a leeway. We gave him chance after chance after chance, but he just continued. He just wouldn't stop. Um, and and now it's actually sad to see him doing this. It's like why, and John Michelle, you explained it perfectly. What we've been saying and thinking about him, and unfortunately, that this is the case. And I think he's doing all of this because he really is dying to ingratiate himself to to the people that he has surrounded himself with. Um, and it's a shame, man. It's a shame. That's all
It
I've
is
got to
a
say.
shame.
Just a bit of backstory to this image, or this tweet. I was on Twitter and I was just scrolling through Twitter, and then let me see what Jake's up to. And I saw this tweet, and I obviously put it to you guys. And the reason I was so confused by this is not because Jake's clearly a racist. He's admitted it himself by stating that it's okay to use the N word even when you're racist. He said it on one of his podcasts.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
My confusion is, why would anybody who isn't a racist associate themselves with Jake, especially a person of African descent? That was my confusion. My confusion was, why would any black person be willing to, commit themselves to, working on the back end for his YouTube channel or being a contributor to his YouTube channel? And ultimately, this is how he sees it as acceptable to see this way. That was my confusion. I mean, generally, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not interested in what's going on in Project Leopard, and I could not care less, because obviously at some point Trump's going to lose and the momentum's going to die down, and he's gonna the blonde dye is gonna wear off, and you're gonna have a black woman as president, which is probably the worst. A woman, and she's a person of color, which is probably the worst thing that can happen to somebody who has these
Is she
particular
black?
views.
Is she black?
Well, she's black enough. I'll say that.
Yeah,
She's
she's
off.
black
She's not
enough.
white. She's not white. She's not white. So clearly,
Yeah, give her
clearly, and
that.
she's a woman. So that's going to be an issue.
But to answer your
Uh,
question,
yeah,
Hassan,
yeah,
if you notice, the people that we're talking about,
yeah.
who are not who was his initial core backup people, they're not white. There's an Asian there, an Indian, and an African. One thing they all have in common, if you notice, that they all hated their own ethnicities, openly saying it. I hate people from Singapore. I don't like Indian women. I would never be with her. To the point saying that Thomas said he couldn't even be aroused by an Indian woman. And this is an Indian man speaking. So when you have people that are also suffering from identity crisis and self-hate,
They group together.
yeah, they group together. And remember, the ultimate epitome of humanity is for them, obviously, is the white people. That's that's who they strive to. That's who they see as the epitome of sophistication, of
being well articulated,
intelligence, etc. So that's who they scale themselves up to be like. That's why they crave their women. They crave their intellect, so called, that they perceive to be higher than everyone else. That's why they like using terms like low IQ, etc. They're wannabes. They're Anglo-Saxon wannabes. They're simple as that. They wish they were white. They wish they were white. And in that wish, they project down onto other people who are not white, including their own people.
Fair enough. Strange, because I don't know what attaining whiteness will do. Yeah, because I've even heard one argue that oh, such and such is white. You know, what's his face? This is one of the talking points that people who have a white supremacist mindset. Nikola Tesla. You know, Nikola Tesla's white, and such is white, and all the greatest thinkers are white. I think to myself, well, what about Jimmy Savile? He's white. Why are you so quick to associate yourself with people of high intellect, high character, and race being the one only trend that you may have with them? Well, why not people who are people of low character, essentially evil people? You weren't, because you want to see yourself in a positive light. Because besides your ethnicity, you have nothing. Because a person who has something beyond their ethnicity goes on to, you know, to live their lives as everybody else does, and sees the value of what ethnicity is. It's skin deep. It's ultimately meaningless. It's not an indicator of success or intelligence or character or wisdom and such. It's circumstantial, really.
They also get to be part of a team. Remember, we spoke about how important it is for these guys to be
part of a collective,
part of some type of team or collective groupthink. At the same time, there has to be a little element of being a victim as well, because we talk about incels here too, and there's always someone to hate. It's always, you know, women. If it's not women, it's the government, it's DEI, it's black people, it's brown people. It's always there's always they're always playing the victim. And at the moment now, the white man, some of these white men are playing the victim. Oh, woe is me, I'm white. I'm a white male. And I'm being oppressed. And they, they actually want to align themselves with that victim mentality as well, which I find interesting.
Yeah, this also reminds that group mentality you say to be part of a team, which is so pathetic. It's unbelievable, because you're on your own anyway.
It is.
It's, you're as an individual, your value comes from you. And part of the collective was is, you know, circumstantial. I remember,
and they'll never be respected. We've seen Jake being laughed at and humiliated on his own show by people that clearly don't respect him at all.
And he's okay with it.
And he's okay with it. That tells you right there the sadness.
Yeah, and I remember sitting at home one day and getting a random message, being told, "Hey, look, our team's doing better than your team. You know, our website is doing better than your website." And so I was thinking to myself, "What's going on? Why am I receiving random messages saying I'm some sort of losing team? I didn't know. Here's me thinking this whole YouTube thing is a hobby, something you do to, you know, fill up your time. You want to talk to somebody and share opinions, and, you know, some on a YouTube channel of somebody who wants to express their opinions and such. Turns out it was a whole movement, which I was completely unaware of. But again, it goes back to that insecurity, that desire to be accepted, the desire to be a part of a collective, altering yourself. And at the end, you get nothing for it, because you can only be a second-class version of somebody else when you could be a first-class version of yourself. But I guess that goes down to, you know,
it's also escapism too. It's escapism, because when Jake is out in the real world, people see a short Mexican. That's what they see.
Yeah.
Right? He could call himself Jake as much as he wants, but they see a short Mexican. He could blonde his hair as much as he wants.
This somewhat reminds me of the trans identity. You know, people who they have an inability to. On the inside, they feel like women. And again, this is not to talk down to the transgender community. It's how I perceive. Yeah, it's a racial dysmorphia. Racial dysmorphia.
Because
so you have
online, it's not just him, by the way. It's the other ones.
Yeah,
there is this escapism. They escape, they retreat into the virtual world.
Yeah,
and I mean, Myron is an example, perfect example of when you go to full circle. So Myron has gone full circle now, where he's now basically an alt-right leader now. That's what he is now. He's an alt-right leader. He's constantly referring to blacks this, blacks that. Why do blacks do this? Why do blacks do that? That's his core message now. It's why do blacks do X, Y, Z. He sounds no different than the alt-right, than the Richard Spencers and the Nick Fuenteses. He's positioning himself up there and now making comments like the Klan were right. Now, these are the statements he's making.
Wow.
So that's what happens when you go full identity crisis. They not there yet, but this is the ultimate. But he's the avatar.
Oh, he's like a Rachel Dolezal, like a Rachel Dolezal.
But it's worse.
Yeah,
she essentially was harmless.
Yeah. It's beneficial beneficial to a community as such, to a certain degree. But the point is, it doesn't end with, because you can't alter yourself to the point where you become someone else. Because you can take, for example, in the transgenderism perspective, again, this is not to criticize the transgender community unfairly, but you can take as much hormone replacement therapy as you want. You can take as much plastic surgery as you can. Ultimately, you're sterilizing yourself and burning a part of your identity that can't be replaced.
Right.
Ever.
What will happen is you'll get your Vivek moment. Your Vivek wake-up call.
Yeah, and they'll keep coming if you don't wake up.
I will never vote for you because you're an Indian.
Yes.
That's what happens. One day they'll all get that Vivek wake-up call.
Yeah.
My days.
But this is the thing. Sorry, Karen.
No. Go ahead, bro.
So but this is the thing with the wake up call. It's really, they don't ultimately wake up. They just go deeper into sleep and double down on it, because it's you're paying me attention. For you to even say that to me means you're paying me attention. That's true. I'm a part of your life and I'm in your mind, which means I'm not in my mind, and I'm somehow just being nothing to you is something to me, is the mindset. And it is what it is.
Sad.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You guys have said everything. Personally, I think he's just seeking attention. This is attention seeking. Like John Shaw said, he's trying to ingratiate to the race that he wishes he was a part of. He obviously has some problems with identity. He's obviously going through an identity crisis. But ultimately, this is all very sad. It's all very sad to see him going through all of this. I mean, I do hope he, snaps out of it and starts having some integrity or some self-respect at least for who he is. And instead of selling himself short, no pun intended, um, in order to appease a certain group of people. It's just sad, and to me, this is more of a case study than anything else. This is why we're bringing this up. It's we don't we know Jake, we know Jake, and it's just sad him doing all these antics, and this whole thing started because of a case study that me and John Michelle and Hassan kind of got into, about incels and all of that, the red pill, and it led us to you know arrive at certain conclusions that they didn't like so much, and eventually we parted ways. So the case study continues, and this is why we brought it up. But it's just sad for him to put a picture like that up. It's just, come on, what are you doing, Jake? I mean, have some self-respect. You know what I mean? Like, don't lower yourself like this. This is sad. This is sad. Um, Maybe this is what he wants, bro. Remember when we held him accountable and I was doing the thumbnail and I tried to blur him out in the thumbnail? He turned around and he said, "No, don't blur me out." He's proud of that. He's proud of doing this type of stuff. But I don't think in the long run, because bad things have bad consequences. I don't think in the long run, and I believe what he's doing is bad, so I think the consequences will be negative in the future. I don't think in the long run he's going to look back and be very proud of his actions, But then again, the opposite can also happen. He might, in the long run, he might look at it and be like, yes, because not everyone learns from their mistakes. But I don't think what he's doing is going to have good consequences for him in the future. But anyways, it is what it is. It is sad. Guys, anything else to add before we wrap it up and call it a day?
No, that was a nice video. I enjoyed that.
Do you know what we should do? Just do a live during the week, like just to cover any crazy
Yeah,
stories that have happened
just
during the
catch
week.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, just for a quick catch up, you know. Yeah. But anyways, guys, listen, shout out to everyone watching. We had 35 of you guys watching, 36 actually.
Shall
Shout
we
outs
do
to
final
all of
thoughts?
you guys watching. Yes, final thoughts before we call it a day. Go ahead, bro.
Okay. So as far as the Olympic thing's concerned, she's a woman, and I think the Italian lady who lost the fight, is just having sour grapes, and he's using this moment to just to cry about losing and cast suspicion on the Algerian lady. The second point about the thugs and the hooligans that were blaming Muslims for everything, just like they did with Leeds, when it has nothing to do with religion. In both cases, it had nothing to do with Muslims. In fact, Muslims in Leeds were actually trying to stop this thing escalating, and Muslims weren't even involved in the whole Southport situation. So I hope the far right isn't successful in disguising themselves as being people who are anti-Islam, or who are trying to reject Islam. Because if you don't like Islam, that's fine. It's not for you. You're free to practice whatever religion you like. But I think ultimately they are the same thugs and the same hooligans who are beating up and physically assaulting black and brown people in the 80s and the 90s, and obviously till this day with these these images that they're making, who have just found a way to project their racism to a predominantly South Asian community within the UK, which in most cases are Muslim, and just using Islam as a way to hide their real intentions. As far as the Leonardo da Vinci thing is concerned, that would be a great episode to go into how the occult and modern art and modern society, how the occult hides itself in modern art and modern society to various ways. Those are my final thoughts. Oh, actually, no. This is a third topic as well. The whole Jake Var situation. I guess you want attention, Jake. Maybe you don't, but if somebody's scrolling through Twitter and they see this absurdity that you're doing, it's going to be confusing, considering you have other black and brown people on your thing. How often can you say that this word slave means from the word Slav, so white people were slaves as well, and Thomas Sowell and Candace Owens and all these moral gymnastics and intellectual gymnastics to hide the fact that your desire to be a part of the white collective doesn't benefit you. Because here's the thing about white people. You may not know. I live in Europe, which is predominantly white. I live in the UK, which is predominantly white. Here's a special thing, and whiteness isn't such a high status in Europe as it is compared to probably in America, although there is racism and such. Here's the thing about white people. You may not know this. They're just people. They don't have any superpowers. They don't beat you in any way, and they're not. There's nothing in their blood or in their skin, or some sort of magic that's in their soul that would make them superior to you. You go out there in the world, you do your best, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. There is no special formula, because there are a lot of poor white people and a lot of ignorant white people. There's a lot of intelligent white people and wealthy white people. It's just modern circumstantial environments that we're living in. Race has no intrinsic value. Never has, and never will. You can do mental gymnastics as much as you want. You can dye your hair as much as you want. You can say X amount of such and such a white and whatever it is. We're all just people at the end of the day. That's my final thoughts. Hello, guys.
Yeah, I mean that you said a lot there, and you said a lot of what I was going to say. Yeah, the most important part for me was the conversation around the hooliganism that we've been seeing, because I thought that was quite disturbing, because apparently there were people that would be randomly attacked as well just for being brown. This is dangerous, and I'll say this too. I know you mentioned the 70s and 80s, but the difference is we got some dons out here that are carrying machetes So if they wanna, if they continue in this vein and they back up with the wrong group of ethnics, they will die. So this is very interesting times, and I think the police need to really step up their intervention here, because if not, if they get amongst the wrong set, one of them would be killed. There'll be deaths. So yeah, that's what I'm going to say on that point. I think Hassan kind of just said what I was going to say about Jake. Jake, just be proud of your Mexican heritage and your black African grandmother. That's it.
All right. Imane Khelif. I'm sure yeah, that donned over there, that fought, what's her name? Angela Carini. Angela Carini felt the force of a man. She felt the punch of a man, and she decided to quit after 46 seconds. It, that didn't surprise me one bit. I don't think a woman should be fighting a man. Um, that is definitely not a woman. Does not have the physique of a woman. Does not have the um, does not have the pose or the stance of a woman. There's nothing about what was on that boxing ring that resembled a woman to me. Um, and so that's my thoughts on that. And I'm sick and tired of the West trying to promote this, promote this gender equality thing, which leads to men fighting women. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. And we saw by Angela's Carino reaction that it's not a good thing. Um, Now the Southport hooligans, they are hooligans. I agreed with a lot of what you guys said. I think my only objection was not everything is racially motivated. Some of it is religiously motivated. And I think there was an element of that in there. But did that justify what they did? Absolutely not. I think for the most part, most of these guys just don't like Muslims. That's really what it really comes down to. And this anti-Islamic sentiment, I think one of the leaders of it is Tommy Robinson, because we saw what happened on the 1st of June. And obviously, I think this is going to continue. This anti-Islamic movement coming from the far right, the alt right. So yeah, but they were wrong. They were wrong about everything. They were wrong about who committed a crime. They were wrong about they were wrong about the whole thing. And even if it was a Muslim boy, that did not give them the right to go and do what they did, regardless. And if you're really that angry, you shouldn't be angry at the Muslims. You should be angry at your government and take it up with your government. The Leonardo da Vinci, I think we're all clear on that. Um, the Leonardo, the whole thing, it was a mockery. It was a mockery. So they were trying to mock Christianity. France is big on that. They've always been big on that. I think not too long ago they burned I don't know how many churches. Um, this is what I'm trying to say. Like the whole thing was they were trying to mock Christianity. I think I've proved that beyond reasonable doubt. Leonardo da Vinci, that says nothing about Christianity. His painting, he's a good artist. That's all he is. And the painting was about the Last Supper, which is recorded in the Bible, and in the Bible, there is Mary Magdalene is not part of that. Of that picture of the Last Supper. She's not part of that. And plus, we've got pictures before Leonardo da Vinci of the Last Supper. So, and in regards to Jake Vaught, Jake, come on, man, grow up. Be proud of your black grandmother, bro. Your black great grandmother. Be proud of her, bro. Be proud of her, bro. Be respectful towards her. Don't do this to yourself. It's sad to see you going down this direction. It's not good, bro. And if you believe in the Bible, you should know that what you're doing is a sin. So please stop doing it. All right, stop being racist. There's no need for you to do that, guys. That's my last thoughts. Um, yeah, guys, that was an amazing live. That was an amazing live. I appreciate everyone. I appreciate everyone that was watching. I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Take care, people.
Take care.